Good morning, Eva. My name is Elena Diago, and today I'm going to present my project in CLIL applied to biology and geology. I'm going to teach about genetic engineering, and this topic is within the 4th FSO curriculum. So I'm going to have kids between 15 and 16 years old, and I expect them to have a B1, B2 level of English. I know it's quite high, but it's an age that is achievable. So some comments about this topic is that they need solid background of replication of DNA. They have to know that process, which elements are involved, and basically because it's background knowledge for understanding genetic engineering techniques. During the unit, I'm gonna reinforce this process, replication of DNA, and I'm gonna explain some basic techniques and how they are applied to some sectors such as agriculture, and I'm gonna highlight some benefits. About the contents, the most important are to know how to associate the correct functions to the specific enzymes, distinguish between genetically modified organism and transgenic organism, because it might be slightly difficult even though it's quite easy to distinguish. So I would encourage my students to use these terms properly. I'm going to explain the recombinant DNA technology as well as how it is applied in the PCR process. I'm not going to focus on the PCR process during the activities, but it's meant to be explained during the lectures. And as I mentioned before, we will work on the benefits of genetic engineering. We will not focus on the impacts because I don't think I will have time enough for it, and to handle the impacts of this kind of technologies is kind of out of the curriculum of 4th FSO. About the linguistic goals, we will work on vocabulary related to genetics, practice of active listening between the students and me, and also listening to some videos that they will have to interpret. And also, they will have to give a scientific speech in English. About the disciplinary objectives. Here I have distinguished in different colors because they're associated to different activities. For example, differentiate the organism that can be used in genetic engineering, or the differences in the different kinds of biotechnology, as well as the benefits of genetic engineering in agriculture. They are going to find it in the activity 3, as far as I can remember. Yes, which is a pre-reading task about genetically modified organism and transgenic organism. Here I also introduce some structures for giving opinion, or kind of a starting speech. Here we have a short pre-reading exercise, and then activity 4, it's basically reading and comprehension of this quite long text, but the vocabulary used is quite easy with lots of cognates, so it's going to be easy to comprehend and interpret. And I say interpret because after that they have some questions here, which I think the knowledge behind them, these questions are just basic of this unit. Other objectives are to identify elements and steps in recombinant DNA. This is from the activity 5. Here it is. It is meant to be explained earlier this process, and because it has kind of 3 different processes within this process, one that starts here and then one that starts here, and it mixes here and kind of it blends and comes out in the main process. This I have applied it during my practice and at the school, and for some students it's really difficult to understand. So I'm gonna explain during class, and then kind of number it accordingly how they have to follow it when they have to apply it. So I think that's gonna kind of ease the comprehension of this process, which is not that difficult, but it has plenty of scientific vocabulary, as we can find here, and some terms that might be difficult for them. Plasmid, they have no idea where it is. They have to find it out or just listen carefully to me when I explain it. And yeah, for the activity 6, they have to apply this technique that I just showed you, the DNA recombinant technology. They will have to research, if they want to, for more techniques of genetic engineering, but that's all absolutely up to them. If they do, I'm gonna help them, and I will consider that as an amplification of the curriculum. And they will have to design a model of GMO or transgenic organism, basically to show me that they have understood what a GMO transgenic organism is. And yeah, they will have to read some tables of real scientific papers. This was from activity 3, and it's here, this table here. I will focus just on this one that is squared, highlighted in orange, but if they want more examples, they have them here, and this is meant to inspire them for the activity 6. And finally, they will have to auto-regulate themselves. This comes from the first activity, which I have suggested a KWL chart, where they are gonna identify first what they know about DNA replication and genetic engineering, then what they want to know about it, and they will have to do this is the first activity. So they will have to do it in the first lesson, and then at the end in activity 7 they will have to fill this one, what I learned about, in this case, genetic engineering, of if anything about DNA replication has been clarified. Okay. So back to the objectives. About the linguistic objectives, they will have to read a scientific essay, then the one from activity 4. They will have to read and speak using technicalities. That's something I'm gonna evaluate. They will have to use vocabulary related to genetics. It's kind of similar to the second, but this one is specified into genetics. And the 4th, they will have to perceive the different endings of adjectives, and we will have them here. This is based also in the reading task number 4, which have plenty of adjectives, and I think it's interesting. Also, the native inflection of common endings in science, such as ase, Asian, like ligase, replication, scientific, or enzyme. These endings are quite troublemaking. And yeah, they will have to use prepositions of place related to media. This is from activity 3. Here it is. And here we find them in a book, in a magazine, on a website, in the news, in the radio. And they will have to understand scientific language related to genetics. This is basically based on activity 2, which we have it here. And here in activity 2, they will have to watch a vocabulary video about DNA replication, which is really visual, and it helps a lot, I think, to understand this process. And the intonation of this video is just magnific. It's really easy to understand. And then they have this exercise here to match the enzymes with their functions, which are all included in the video and explained. I have used different descriptions of the enzymes because I think it's interesting to interpret what the video has said and find a similar way to explain it. Yeah. Then about studying skills, they are gonna use a video software, Screen Customatic, the same as I am using here, basically because it's for free, and it has free access. They will have to use Microsoft PowerPoint to make a presentation for activity 6. They will have to research in internet and send the video also in this platform. And yeah, they will have to present the video following a given structure, which is in activity 6. This is on cognitive objectives. And yeah. The workload in activity 2 is basically writing. Activity 1 is writing. Activity 2 is watching a video, so listening. Activity 3 is basically reading and speaking. Activity 4 is reading and writing. Activity 5, they have to complete a process diagram. The one with DNA replication is basically writing. And activity 6 includes all the 4 competences in English. About the basic competences, mainly it is competence in mathematics and the basic competence in science and technology, basically because it's biology, and they are going to use some scientific tests and data. Linguistic competence is fully developed during this unit. They will have to write a video script, speak, giving opinions, sharing the information that they know or they have watched on the TV, present the product, and explain the process of a technique related to genetic engineering. They will have to read scientific essays and listen to native speech. They will have to learn, and this is the auto-regulation. I expect it to, or will encourage them to apply through the KWL chart. They will develop the sense of innovation and initiative, and this is basically related to activity 6, where they have to analyze a social problem or an environmental problem, design a product, and plan and organize a presentation, and the same for filming a video. The digital competence, basically because they are going to be working on laptops or tablets or computers, they will have to have access to internet, search, film the video, make presentations, as I mentioned before. About the assessment, 10% of the qualification is gonna come through the participation during the activities. My plan is to go around and try to guide them during the activities or resolve some doubts in case they have any. 15% is going to be the handing of the exercise booklet from exercise 1 to 6. Well, 1 to 5. Activity 6 is going to be 25% of the assessment. And it makes sense that it's so high because it has lots of work, and it